good. And I'll put my hand up for that one. You've got to find the right animal, and if you're lucky, I'll take you on a journey. So we're going to focus a little bit on that, but also, if we get time, I'd like to show you some of the stuff that I presented at the South Australian CTP, and I got feedback from all our national junior coaches, a bit on load management, but also on how, we're talking basically about program construction, and that's good because it covers probably all the events. We've got a few of the national junior coaches here, so you'll see some of the feedback I got from them. And there's a bit of a case study too in some of the ways Celeste Lucci. We made the transition from 12, first year uni, a year off, and what she did. So it started to think about the process of how you're going to get your athletes up to the next level. First thing, you've got to know your event. What's the physical requirements, the technical requirements, the technical, the psychological. You've got to have a fairly good idea about your event. If you're not sure, the internet now is very much a source of information. Some of it's good, some of it's poor. Typically, a lot of the European stuff I find very, very good. You have to be careful with some of the American stuff, in my opinion. Especially a lot of stuff coming out of colleges that perhaps the coaches have bring in a lot of talent. A lot of them, some of them are actually just talent ID people. Don't do a lot of coaching. If you bring in 4 blokes that are running 10.50, well, you've already got a bit of a pool there. These kids are 16, 17 years of age. So just be careful where you get some information around. You've got to know what your athlete does, what makes them tick. You have to have an understanding of where they sit. The athlete we have today is very different from 10 or 15 years ago, extremely different physically. And we'll get on to this from 15, 20 years ago, 20 years ago, 20, 25 years ago. They're a different person, different stresses, but also there's a different physicality, and in my opinion, a very different physical literacy. So you've got to understand what your athlete does, friends, partners, families, got to be involved. I know it's hard at training because you might have a bit of a group, but often just a casual conversation, it's still going, you've got exams on, but this is all conversations that you have and have some planning ideas, and you get to know them a little bit better. Simple gap analysis, don't want to go into that too much. You know if your kids haven't got enough speed or they're lacking strength, maybe their power output needs to be improved, maybe flexibility is holding them back, or some specific core or trunk strength. So you've got to identify what's missing. So what I like to do is have a season review at the end of the year, and I think most coaches do that. Sit down with the athlete's young. I like to sit with the athlete first, then the athlete and parents, or even have a separate conversation with the parents. It's important that we're all on the same page because going from school level to the next level, and this group, a lot of these kids will be fair enough saying might be targeting raw juniors, 2 years. That'd be a fair call. A few may be lucky enough to make a Commonwealth Games, maybe. But the reality is, these kids, unless they're an absolute gun, won't be at Tokyo Olympics in 2024 if they're good enough. The front slide had Brandon Stark and Alex Stewart as coach. They've had a sensational year this year in Europe. And Alex, I think, is a really good case to follow because some of the stuff that he's done is really, really switched on. He's a full-time coach. Nicole Bateman-Stewart, his wife, ex-Olympian, top 8 Olympics, world-class long jumper. They've got a coaching, basically, school up there. And Alex has guided Brandon all the way through when he first met him at 15, I think, through a national 17 squad. So he's been with him now for 8 or 9 years. That's the process. It's slow. Made the Olympic final, made the World Champs final, couldn't double up this year. He's basically, in my opinion, will end up number 2 ranked athlete, high jumper in the world behind Marshall. Because he's just plugged away. And the work he's done the last 7 years, I think, has come out this year. Not what he did this year. He hasn't done much different. As Alex and I talk regularly. He hasn't done much different. Just things are starting to come together. The last 2 years, there hasn't been a lot of changes in his program. He's just been healthy, he's been in a good mental space, and he just kept competing, and the results have come. So season reviews, I think they're important. I would say to my athletes there, look, if you want to go somewhere else, go. If there's other people you want to talk to, let me know. right? We have to have an open, honest discussion, and it works both ways. I'll say to athletes, I'm not happy with you, I'll tell you, and vice versa. The complaint I always get is, you're often late. Sorry, I put my hand up there. But sometimes I remind them that I have a real job. Anyway, although I'm 0.6 now, so I can't be late on the days that I'm not working, and they know that. How often do you debrief and plan? When is it time to stop doing something, start doing something, or continue going along? They're the decisions the coach has to make. And an athlete's role in this, and there's a few athletes here, it's important that they also give this accurate feedback at training sessions. Because without feedback, you don't really know what the athlete's doing. I'll get my kids, I usually go from a 1 to 10, turn up training, how do you feel today? Out of 10, 7, okay, start jumping or doing whatever. How do you feel now? Oh, 4. They could be knackered, you cut the session. You'll speak to Craig Hilliard, and this was mentioned, this is a presentation that Craig Hilliard did for the under-17 national squad. I've taken it, it's still mostly a lot of Craig stuff, I've put some other bits and pieces in it. But even with Craig, Gary Bourne, blokes coach has been around for a long time, even Sharon Stewart, I know when she was coaching Sally. The conversation is always at training, how do you feel, what's going on? And you have a real program, and you've got your overall program. And if I showed you my program, a lot of red pen on it, right? Because things change depending on how the athlete feels. So feedback's really, really important. That's where we can discuss the art. Is it the art of coaching or is it science of coaching? My opinion is the balance of both. I think the best coaches have a real feel for their conversations they have with their athletes, and they get good feedback from their athletes. That's understanding you have to come with your athletes and make sure that you get some good feedback and it's honest. So it's that capacity to marry what you're seeing with hearing or your gut feel. For example, one of my blokes the other day, I just changed his body position slightly. I filmed him, and then I heard something different. He was hitting the ground differently. And we replayed it, and we both were surprised that we could both pick it up, even on my little Samsung. No, Samsung has a pretty sexy phone, I've been told. But we could actually pick it up on that. And it just sounded different. It was a lighter run, just by changing the posture. So this is the little tricks, I suppose, you learn as you go along with coaching. Training stimuli, you all know these two: volume, intensity, frequency, specificity, recovery. That's a very important one. Is one more important than the other? At different times of an athlete's life, each of those might take priority. Right? There is no perfect recipe book for each athlete. I coach my high jumper that I've got now very differently from what I did 10 years ago, from what I did 20 years ago. They're individuals. Often an athlete is an experiment of one. They're very different, so you have to accommodate that. Involve the athlete in your planning. I don't mind sometimes if I've got, say, some tempo down for some of my guys or girls, I'll say, look, got some tempo down, we're going to do some 60s or some straight curves, or we do slaloms. What do you want to do? They'll pick one. Sometimes I'll pick different things. That's okay, as long as it's still within the constraints of what I think they need. It doesn't hurt to change things up. And I don't mind it when they split a bit too, because I think they work better individually sometimes. All right. Oh, the last one. Sorry, I missed that. Just the buy-in from parents, buy-in from partners, especially the kids too. Like the kids we coach, they're probably the sporting. Their identity is based around, a lot of the time, their sporting ability at school. So they'll be doing 4 or 5 different sports. That's a real issue with load management, trying to make sure you get that under control and try and accommodate the training. But it's all about making sure, we're going to put this up on the Dropbox, aren't we?
Yes. Yep.
So we're going to make sure that we understand what they do. Just a few planning things. Generally, you actually plan backwards, right? You actually work backwards. So for our guys now, March is the most important thing. What's on next year for juniors? Not much. For juniors of this year, perfect year to put in a massive winter. Very, very perfect opportunity. So you start thinking ahead. What's going on after that? World Juniors. Some might aim for World Juniors. Some might be too young, some might be too old. Some might turn 20 in 2020, so they're too old. So therefore, they've got to make that transition from there to a Commonwealth Games team for a world champs or Olympic Games, that's standards are quite significant. That's what I mean about knowing your event. IAAF have just changed the way they're going to get kids into athletes in teams. So it's important that you keep up to speed with that, because being from Australia, it looks like it's going to be tougher, harder for us. They'll set a standard, but I know, for example, the standard for the high jump for getting the Olympic Games and World is 28, 29. I suspect it will go up to 32, because they don't want too many field eventers in the competition. And I think they'll also they'll make the times a lot more difficult. But it's on this world ranking list. So look, I won't go into it, but it's quite a complicated process, 10 levels of competitions, each one's worth different points, depending where you finish, what your standard is, etc. But that's the top level. But that'll work out in the wash. Right, so I always work backwards. Think long term. So these kids in this squad now, they've got to think the next 3 or 4 years if they really want to progress. The next 3 or 4 years offers an opportunity to do some really, really good work, and that's the cornerstone. That is, we've got to do some really good, coordinated, proper training to get you to the next level. Just a couple, these are just general points. Balance the program with general to specific. Often we do. We've got to make sure we still keep up the general work. Like for example, we know now I'll keep up a lot of my weights and strength work with females right up to the week of nationals. Right? Got to keep it up. Boys can keep their mass and their strength much easier than females. We know that. It's a hormonal thing. There are other things in play. For example, on our travelling with teams, I used to see, say, Catherine Mitchell, Danny Samuels. I'd see them in the weight room going heavy. The week of the Olympics, is they've got to keep their strength up, because the female strength can drop off quite a bit more than a male's. Traditionally, we spend too much time looking at volume. It's probably fair to say that we probably now, I think we're smarter at training. I think we can actually pick the bones out of it a little bit. 15, 20 years ago, probably some of the coaches here will remember, a lot of people were doing weights 3 times a week. Throwers, that's a bit different. They do the big loads in the weight room 3 times a week. They might do double up on Monday, Tuesday to different body parts. But generally now, most top athletes are in the weight room twice a week. Right? Twice a week they're doing less. My philosophy is that you have to try and do the minimum amount of work for the best gains. Minimum amount of work for the best gains. Now if you do that, you can potentially not get them injured, not get them hurt, and it's that fine line. Like as we know as coaches, it's that real fine line. That one extra repetition, that intensities, Gregor, just that 1% too high, you just push them over the limit, and then they're wasted for a week or they get hurt. So it's that ability to be able to pick that, and that's something I think you'll learn from experience. I'll put my hand up, like I've made horrible mistakes as an athlete. And I've done horrible mistakes that we've lost 6 weeks, we've lost 6 months because we've had issues. But then again, I think a lot of my athletes have made their own mistakes in lifestyle choices. Or one triple jumper I had years ago decided to do the half marathon this time of year and wondered why it derailed his whole season. I'm just running with a mate. We're just jogging slow, 23 k's, and then it became a race between him and his mate. So I couldn't walk for about 4 weeks. So we've all got no potato heads. Just be careful with that. More planning considerations. It doesn't hurt to do a bit of this, even during winter. You can't have now a long block of 16, 18 weeks. You have to build in some little peaks and then back off a bit. Let's have some winter comps, let's have some jumps, let's have some throws, have a nice little recovery block and change it up a little bit. The body is an organism, we've got to stimulate it, but you've also got to give it some relaxation and downtime. You can't just build. It's too hard to do that. Interestingly, what we've found out now, I did a big study at the AIS through Benny Railsmith, and they've done a massive survey out there across all sports, and they've done a lot of really valuable and quality data collection. And what they've found that the small breaks now, a small break is just as bad and potentially damaging as overtraining. and we know there are danger periods. So all our kids now, even in BCE, that's a danger period. They'll have, if they have training, 50% of training, for example, now falls by the wayside. Let's say that's probably even too much. Some kids will do 20 or 30% of training the next month. It will take them another 8 weeks to maybe get back to what they were before exams. So anyone who's doing Year 12 now, I would say forget all schools. If you're under 18, forget all schools. Brandon, Stark and Alex often missed all schools because it wasn't in the big picture. It was all about March. It was all about getting selected on a team. It was all about creating a long base. I'll get to that in a sec about the advantage Europeans have over us in terms of development. So these studies have been quite good because they've shown that if you miss certain periods of training, whether it's exams, whether it's family stress, you miss a week of training, well, you can get back into it another week. But we know now that if you miss too much, through whatever, that you really have to be very careful when you reload. The last point, the best looking plans do not necessarily mean they work. Well, I use Excel, got my own little Excel sheet, but you get all the ones on the internet, but not that good. A lot of my stuff's still handwritten, I've got a hand diary, call me old fashioned, but I still write stuff in here. But I've got my phone now, so it's a bit ticky now, you know. So I'll be training and I'll film. And I'll keep the films, and Warren can testify to this. Sometimes I'll talk into my phone like a lunatic because I'll often make notes, especially in technical session. Oh, I need to drive a report today, blah, blah. Press button, send an email, and I can just put it straight on the program, just to keep a record of that stuff. And I don't do it for everyone. The reality is, for the high level athlete, you need to put more time in. The higher that athlete goes, the more difficult it becomes on yourself, your life, your family, your partners, your knowledge. All these things come into play. Just a couple of things. Include some form of specific training. You've got to do some sort of event training all year round. Old school was train to train. You know, do 4 months preparation, don't jump, don't do much throwing, don't go flat out. Yet you'll find that, you know, someone like Dan Pfaff, they're running flat out for the first 2 or 3 weeks. They're doing high intensity efforts. They've got to keep in touch. I think the Russians have a saying that any time of the year, you need to be between, you cannot fall further than 5% away from your personal best. Right, you should be able to reproduce that. So if there's competition needed, you just back off a little bit, come up, and you should be able to perform pretty well. Program content, this is the tricky one. Depends on your age, physical development, how many training years has the athlete got. That's always a tricky one. Some athletes have been training for 4 years. Reality is, if they're playing other sports and they've got a 6-week athletic season like the APS is on now, they go away, they've got exams, you don't see them, then they want to go to all schools, then January comes, they're on holidays, their training age is 0, because there's no continuous training. And these troughs are the ones that convert people and slows down development. Don't attempt to build Rome a day. It's very easy to over-program. I'll be guilty of that. You know, I do less in my programs now than I used to. I work on the KISS principle. Hey, keep it simple, stupid. Train to compete, not for training's sake. The people that love training, it's great to love training, but if they don't like to compete, that's another issue. That's perhaps the psychological awareness of your athlete and where they sit and what they've got to do. Just a general snapshot. So, for example, first 3 or 4 years, and I'll refer back to Starkey and Alex, that they spend a lot of time just learning how to train. An athlete needs to learn how to train. It's got to be part of their lifestyle. They need to pack their food for after training. They need to have their rollers. They need to have their recovery process. They need to have their bathers and their towels and their hats, second pair of tights, socks, etc. If they want to be a professional athlete, that's what a professional athlete looks like. They've always got their stuff with them. They've always got everything ready to go. Right, if my blokes don't turn up in tights, I crack it. I don't care if it's cold, if it's warm. Turn up in tights, because we know that a little bit of body, this is one of the 0.1 percenters, a little bit of body of evidence saying, you know, you put your compression tights on after competition training, that can help recovery. and sleep. That's the best form of recovery. Don't go out and party and drink alcohol, that's even better. Don't have a real life and we'll all be happy. So, learning the training habits, building the capacities, technical model development, I'll allude to that a little bit later. You can't take shortcuts for technical model development. If you do, it'll haunt you later on. Whether it's a jump, throw, distance run. Like if they run poorly, if they're not striking the ground properly, it'll catch up with them. Interesting, I saw a couple of weeks ago, I caught up with Justin Rinaldi out here, who coaches Peter Ball and Dengy. And I saw them out here, they just had a bit of a break, couple of weeks, but they've been doing a bit of running, they came to do a bit of testing. But even from the first session, they were doing running drills, and he was hammering them on it. Saying, no, it's not good enough, do it again. It's their first running session, just on the grass. So that's the attention to detail, the technical development you need. I get angry when my athletes do shitty run-throughs. I prefer them to almost do them by themselves. And why don't I say this? A lot of my guys warm up by themselves because I want to focus on their job, not on someone else. It just might be that little bit of extra technical input which they get themselves. And if they're doing 3 track sessions a week and they're going to warm up 3 times, over 40 weeks, that's 1,200 sessions. That's 120 actually, don't worry about that. But it's a lot of sessions. And then if they've done that 120 times, 5 reps, that's 600 repetitions they've done with good technical model thinking. Well, that's just the way it adds up. So the next few years, hopefully they might get juniors, they might get a team. Much harder for our kids to get on a team now, but they'll get there. They'll get there. We've just got to keep making the right choices, having a good program. And then hopefully the athletes, if they're lucky, they'll get a few years competing internationally. The really good ones like the Sallys and the Danny Samuels, they'll obviously go for a long period of time because they're they've come in at this level. If your kid's here, they're going to have to work to try and catch up to that level. Okay, injuries, lack of physical conditioning. Yeah, look, I can give you an example of many years ago when I was a young man. That's a joke, right? Many years ago at the national junior camps, we used to have them. I would test bounds at a national high jump camp. People like Alison Libreri, 198, Ian Garrett, 229, Tim Forsyth. We had all these kids that had much better physical capacities than what our kids have now. I would test standing long jump, standing triple jump, both legs, standing 4 hops in the jump, standing 4 steps in the jump, shot put, 30s, 150s. I do that in 2 sessions. If I do that now with my current under 7s and 90s, I'll kill them. Because a lot of them can't bound. A lot of them probably need to learn how to run better. You can't run, you can't jump. You can't run, you can't do most things, to be honest. So we make sure now that we're a bit more sensible with what we do. But the lack of physical conditioning now with physio programs, with this shit here, this stuff here, with iPads and all that, it's just reducing the time that kids are out doing stuff, especially in those junior years. Product mechanics, movement patterns, I mentioned that. Joint tendon, muscle control, balance, postural strength. A lot of the stuff now we know now. A lot of the more bouncing movement, sideways, lateral, vertical, twisting, agility, rotational stuff, opposite leg stuff, opposite hand stuff. A lot of this stuff just makes the athlete more physically resilient, right? Switches on their brain, neuromuscular patterns are set up and allows a lot more ability to express themselves as an athlete. We also know that some of the research coming out now on skill acquisition is that if you really take them out of a comfort zone, right, so change things up. Like I purposefully, another unit now, the high jump pit's a bit wonky, and I like it to be out of whack, because they have to remeasure each time. Because it does their head in if it's not square and perfect. Well, you get to a competition overseas, I guarantee it's going to be the same as your home track. That circle, it's going to be faster or slower. If you train in the same circle 5 years in a row, what are you going to do when you go to competition? You've got to mix it up a little bit. So we know the skill act, using opposite side stuff, switches on brain patterns can affect and help make a better link between technical elements for an athlete. So coordination of gymnastics, yoga, combative stuff, and I'm a big fan of martial arts of some form. A bit hard though, they've got to make a commitment a couple of times a week. But elements of it are very, very good with the grounding processes they have. Pilates, multi-directional, you can use lots of different things. Lots of different things. There's just a general example of someone, you know, it's more of a jumper thrower, sprinter maybe, hurdler. You know, just mix it up. Run, technical drills, weights and jumps, run and circuit, coordination, balance. Mix it all up, and that's more of a winter sort of preparation. But you can still take the elements of that to maintain it during their competition season. So this is what I was saying before. This generation does not have the grounding or background of the athletes we had 10, 15, 20 years ago. I think you probably, if you've been coaching for a while, you probably agree with that. It tends to be that the kids do not have the same physical literacy. When my boys were 27, 25, and I know we used to do the run around, you'd take them to a bit of, kept them away from little lads. So if I knew if I went down, I'd have to do something. So I just, you can go. But they did quite a few different sports. They did the martial arts. One played some pretty high level footy, one did rowing. But they were just different sort of kids. But I did the run around too. You know, you go to, they did basketball and stuff, but the temptation now, and I'm a physical education teacher, I have been for 35 years, is that people send their kids to these babysitting activities. There's no sort of continuous development. They don't really look at their physical literacy. It's generally about games, teamwork, etc. That's fine, but it's not going to build physical capacities. Right? It just doesn't do it. So running multi-directional games, climbing activities. When's the last time your kids got on a monkey bar? Upper body strength. You know, you see it all the time. If kids aren't exposed and keep up those sort of things, it's very difficult for them. So throwing activities, skipping, hopping, rebound. We've got some examples in a bit, just at the end here. So Craig's put together, I'll add some things. But these develop the joint awareness, the proprioception of the joints, knowing what angles things are working. They get feedback. The tendon, ligament strength, joint structures, the fascia. The whole, you know, the fascia is quite a new term now. The whole fascial chain around the body. It implements and does a lot of work with the coordination of the muscles and the joints. So basic body weight, strength, capacity is interesting. I need to focus on getting fundamentals correct. I know we're repeating some stuff, but I think it needs to be repeated. Fundamentals are critical. Stop worrying about the 1%ers, they'll come later. Like if your kid's a bit slack with recovery, they're getting really good sleep, and that's a plus. They won't get really good sleep if they're a student. There's some research that's coming, I think, they reckon that an adolescent, during their growing years, 15, 18, whatever, really needs 9 hours sleep a night. Hello. It's not going to happen for a year 11, 12 kid. And the trick is, on the weekend, I'll try and catch up. And it's obvious, you know, kids on the weekend will try and get a 9 or 10, 12, or actually, we all do that, don't we? Why aren't we all on in bed now? So, those 1%ers are great, but it's the whole package that you worry about. It's interesting, what was it this year? Was it, let's talk about the evil non-Olympic sport, AFL. What was their theme this year was working on the 95% that's really working well and not worrying about the 5%. They just really focus on their strength and build it up and keep being positive. So maybe that's similar to this process. The training you give a younger athlete will certainly improve them, but initially that's not always the most appropriate. You've got to be careful. Young athletes just keep, these kids should be doing this. Eventually they plateau. Kids have change, that's when it gets hard. One of my young guys last year jumped 202. He's had 2 comps this year, he's jumped 210. I've seen him 5 times. That's not coaching. That's just babysitting. Because he is on an upward curve. Not because of me, it's because he chose his parents well. Right? Dad's the next 110 metre hurdle man at 1440, 1450. Mum quite athletic. So I just looked at his run up, took it back because he's grown about this much. We took his run up back, and that's what we've done. Just he still runs. He runs quite well, but that's also his hurdles background. So technically, I know I don't know if it's his swimming strength. I don't have to work too much on his run. He's quite good covering the ground. So I'll just do some grunt development. But they make us look good. Weights and circuits. Everyone should be doing body weight circuits. Most top athletes do some sort of circuits, some sort of body weight stuff, just to keep in touch, keep their joints working, keep the integrity of ankles, knees, hips, backs, shoulders, etc. Jumpers need to do some sort of a little bit of upper body, because if they're starting to lift heavy weights, what breaks down is not the amount of weight they can lift, right? It's often they're very, very explosive here. It's the ability to hold it and be good posturally, to do good movements with it. It's one of the issues with some athletes. They can get very, very strong in the legs, but if this is not strong and able to hold loads, you'll struggle. Circuits, med balls, bands, body weight exercise, running bikes. I use a lot of poles at the track. We're lucky that we've got cut over little broomsticks this big. We've got a 4 kilo little bar this big, and we've got a 7 kilo bar this big. And we do a lot of work, drills, running, jumping, movements, bunch of possible stuff you can actually do. I remember, just a side issue, Debbie Flintoff-King, who remembers who Debbie Flintoff-King is? I'll remind the under 40, 88 Olympic champion, 400 metre hurdle, still holds the Australian record at 53.07 or something like that. She had a bar circuit, a 4 kilo bar circuit. She had 20 exercises, and she would do that 3 times, and she would never put the bar down. And each exercise was done for 50 seconds. Why 50 seconds? Hello? Thank you. Alright, so she was doing some massive sessions. But nothing fancy, just little jerks or things, or she was just doing such squats, sit-ups, you just use that bar for all these exercises. If you're going to start getting in the weight room, a lot of work needs to be done on squatting and lunge movements. Squatting and lunge movements. It shouldn't load up until they start knowing how to squat properly. But that can be a couple of years down the track. Strength, in my opinion, is one of the easiest things to build up. Your strength in the weight room just goes like this. Right? So you're reading the papers, you've got to start when you're 15, 16. There are athletes that have represented Australia and done well at major championships, didn't start lifting till after high school. Right? Don't be in a hurry. Get the fundamentals right. Get the body weight stuff right. That's very, very important. But technique's critical. Optimise time in the gym. They can become gym junkies. With throwers. Throwers are classic for this. Get behind, just chew the weight, spit it out, start again. Right? I love it, but is it going to work? Talking to Scotty Martin now, they don't even know what Damien's PBs are in some exercises. They haven't really tested them, but they know that the exercises they're trying to do fast are getting better. That's more important than how much, ball busting weight you can put on your shoulders. Right, so that's being smart in the gym. Constant change in load intensity. If you do the same thing over and over again, like a job, like most of us got a real job, if you do the same thing over and over again, you stagnate. And physiologically, that's what also happens. We're adaptive organisms. Once we adapt to a certain level, you keep doing the same thing, it's not going to improve. Something has to change. Right? You might even give them a few days off and then start again when things improve. You may have to change your exercises. Typically in the weight room, people will change exercises every 6 to 8 weeks. Right? Change them slightly. Like you might be doing, say, a shoulder press versus bench, or might be doing something dumbbells versus barbells. Still trying to get the same result, but ultimately you've just got to be smart with what training is. So I tried to put a couple of things down to be a bit more event specific. Running on boards, include a form of speed development program all year round. I often do that with my jumpers, even during the winter. I'll say, when you're warming up, if you feel good, maybe the last 2 or 3 reps in you, if you're doing run-throughs, turn the legs over. Get to 90. If it feels good, get to 95. Yeah. Just so we keep that going. Because if you're doing 80-85% stuff for 12 weeks, it's dangerous to all of a sudden introduce even a 3-point start. Right? more intense. That's where those little little troughs occur. You've got to be smart with training. So speed development is important. Keep it up during the period of time of the year. Even speaking to Brent Balance likes to do some still speed intervals. Still trying to turn them over during the preparation period. Speed and speed endurance, you're really going to do those together. I think it's quite clear now that you need to be able to do that type of work together because it'll be the benefit of both. Tempo, technical endurance components, the same sort of thing. Distance and walk athletes, you've got to be efficient, you've got to be technical. And for walk, if you're not technical, you get DQ'd. So again, it's that attention to a correct model, running well, being efficient, and being nice and economical. 400 hurdles, well, you know, it's a tempo event. If you think you can do 16 weeks training without running him over the hurdles, in the middle, it's very difficult. You know, if they're getting stronger and fitter, and the hurdling is an interesting one because we know they get higher, they get longer, they get further, with 100s, 80s, 90s, 100s, 10s, etc. Then they go to 4, 300, 200, 400. But that's an interesting one because as kids develop, they'll get stronger, their stride lengths might get longer. So it's really important to keep up that rhythm stuff. But you don't know where you're at. You don't know where you're at. Jumps and throws. I mentioned about some sort of technical speed in the program at some time of the year. I don't jump very much in the winter, so for winter prep, but I'll do scissors into a sand pit going for height. Right, it takes out the rotation, but it's hard work. It's a technical exercise, and you're being explosive. Utilising different weights and implements. You know, for throwers, they do that quite a bit. Different surface conditions, I mentioned this. Using different gradients, you know, for running, for bounding, mixing it up and down, hills, stairs, bounding horizontally, vertically, laterally. We actually do some bounds sideways, only because in the 90s I saw a bloke called Sotomayor used to do step bounds, and he could go sideways, and I thought, that makes sense. My jumper does this, so maybe we need to bound like this. So we do it sometimes, just it's a different way of looking at it. But it's that resiliency, it's that adding a little bit to affect the overall performance. Weather conditions, right. You have to jump and throw and sprint and hurdle in the rain. Right, simple. It's non-negotiable. If it's unsafe, that's different. But if it's drizzling, it's a bit wet, no, you don't go in the weight room. Stay out here, get a bit wet, get uncomfortable, see what it's like when you're slipping a little bit. Right? It just makes it tougher up here. If you can't do it in training, how the hell are you going to do it in competition? It's not going to happen. Right? And events, things like pole and stuff. I've been to World Juniors where we had to get up on the hour, 4:35. It was pouring with rain. These girls were warming up in the pouring rain. Absolutely pouring rain. Girls were sliding down the poles. And what happened there was they postponed it, put it on the next morning, which is great because that means they had 3-4:30 mornings in a row with the team coach. Thank you very much. And the next day was quite good, but a couple of the girls who were quite favoured, they just packed their pants. I think one of them got injured in the warm-up the previous day. So while I'm not saying that's what you should do, it's an injury situation, but it's also getting used to competing and being aware of different conditions, different wind, go to different tracks. So I'm always stuck in Melbourne Union, but I do come here a bit through the summer. Or here, sorry. I'm not going to jump out of the way. So, but we do come here a little bit. And now we can sort of compete at different tracks. I think it's good for athletes to compete at different tracks. Some are better than others. And also, you know, I time my athletes out of training. You know, you hear me, don't you? You know, you're standing there, you do a training jump. Sorry, 30 seconds is up. Next. No, you've only got 30 seconds to jump or throw. Get used to it. Get with the program. Get out there and get ready. Don't sit back and wander over, because my time's more valuable than yours, I tell them. Simple. I said, you know, let's get into it. He said, it takes you forever. Hold on. He said, don't start me, Stuart. All right. You want? Oh, no, that's what I said. It's a long minute sometimes. Programs always got to evolve depending on where the athletes are going, to cope with the different demands that they're doing, when they get in faster, they're getting taller, they're getting longer, especially the youngies. 2 schools of thought, if it isn't broken, don't change it. So that's a bit what I reckon what Alex and Brandon have done. A couple of years, it's working all right. We can see it's going all right. No, we went a bit longer because we started. So we're just going to be careful with what we do and how we approach it. Sometimes if things are doing this, you're going to have to try and break it and change things significantly. Cross-training, and one of the biggest traps is going from a normal load, from an injured load back to a normal load. Danger. Any transition from something to higher speed is often a danger one. I know when we used to go, you transition out of winter and you start getting a bit more explosive bounding, you've got to be careful. So it varies. I found, well, that's one thing. You know, cross-train, look, these are on the thing. I won't really go through these, but there's a couple of things I want to show you. You can use those, pool sessions, running, these will be on the pool sessions. There's some examples, some good ones here. There's a good one here, a couple of ones that Craig's put in. And just all these conditioning drills. But it's not rocket science, it's just a big range of things, and this will be on the drop box. But it's probably a lot of stuff you're not unfamiliar with. Different combinations of runs, jumps, throws, sideways, backwards, different weight implements, blah, blah, blah. Coordination, strength, balances, conditioning drills, etc., etc. Just a couple of things, probably the major areas of concern for a developing athlete. A couple of things. The long domestic season. Let's be honest, the way we get our kids to do athletics in this country is shit. Excuse me. Got that? Because there is no coordination of school competitions. There's 17, 20 different school organisations. Some kids are competing in nationals in March, but they've got their school sports in February, they've got their zone in May, and their state finals in October. They're all over the place. APS have a 6 to 8 week period. AGS have a 6 to 8 week period at the start of the year. Catholic colleges. SSB, this is one of my bugbears, which is the state school. 70% of the schools are state schools. We have the state final next Monday week. Now, it's no surprise that there's no Year 12s competing. I reckon it's 20%, if that. It's garbage. I'm trying to push them to say, let's have our athletics early. Let's have it in April. Let's have it start at term 2 if we can. Because then we'll get the Year 12, the Year 11 kids involved. Because the Year 11 kids, a lot of them, most Year 11 kids do 3 and 4 subjects. And they've got an exam coming up. And you've got kids doing languages, we've got plurals right now. So it hurts us. So we've got to know coordination. And what happens is, if you compare that with what we see over in Europe, they'll finish competing. Actually, I saw some results last week for an under-18 club championship between 4 different countries. Enormous competitive opportunities those kids get. We get very little compared to them. Geography kills us, agree? Too big. If you put all of Australia into East Brunswick, I'll be very happy. I think it's already there. That's where I live, by the way. Anyway, so we're going to be careful because the Europeans will finish September. Then October, November, December, they haven't got school stuff, they're training. October, November, December, January, still training, they might do some indoors. But they've got this base. Our kids don't. They're busy doing schools, they're busy doing interclub, then they're busy doing under-18 all schools, then they want to go to March, then they've got holidays, then they've got Christmas, New Year. Christmas, New Year period is identified as one of the most dangerous periods for detraining and injuries. We know that. We all know that. After drinking too much wine bladder and eating too much Christmas put, imagine how bloated we are, or what are the kids like. Still got to enjoy themselves, but it's got to be tough. Make choices. You're not making a sacrifice, you're making a choice. Coaches and families are making a sacrifice to look after you. Anyway, it's enough about that. That's one of the biggest issues. General fitness, body strength, coordinating with capacities is generally abysmal. A lot of kids don't have the base. The kids that come from multi-sports potentially have a bit more physical resiliency. Yeah? We can control them a bit better. And really looking at some of the stats, if you want your kid to go to the next level, be realistic. It's tough. It's a tough gig. We're not like swimming. Oh, did I say that? Sorry. But it's true. It's true. Like we've got 200 more countries turn up. More countries win medals at World Champs and Olympics in athletics, and some countries turn up for the Olympics. Sailing. Only two continents do it. Seriously. Careful, PLS, stop listening. Give me your money anyways. So just understand the event, because it's a tough gig, but good program, good talent, a bit of this and a bit of this, and the kids should go a long way. Early specialisation, I won't go into that, I think we're all familiar with that. I'd ask you for questions, but I'll not, because I'll show you this one. If you've got any questions or any thoughts, please speak up. This one. Alright, there we go, Stevie Kane. Ooh. This is what some of the feedback we got about from the national junior coaches. Steve, I'm sure you're correct me. Anyway. Alright, so I'll read it. I'll put this on the thingy as well, that's fine. So, things like, what's their incidental daily load? You know, they're doing stuff at school, PE, sport, lunch duty. Oh, they come to training and, oh yeah, you're a bit flat today. This happened to me a couple of weeks ago, like I was training, oh, you're really flat, what's this, done nothing. What's it today? I did a beat test in PE. Well, let me know beforehand, because then I wouldn't have jumped for the last 40 minutes trying to get you off the ground. I just want to give you some strength work. Right, so communication is very, very important. That was quite a common thread with all the national junior coaches. How many coaches do they have? You know, they could have different coaches in different sports. You have to be careful. Progression, right, the big one. Have they gradually built up those loads? When they return, return to training after exam, etc., how they make sure that they progress in the load, build it back in. And Steve's thing here was ASS, which is, I suppose, arse. Assumptions are no good. Well, the coach can't assume what you've done or haven't done unless the athlete communicates. So it's a two-way street.
Hey.
Well, hey. Back in. Hey, here we go. Beautiful. All right, so we go. Listen, Scotty Martin, avoid increasing decrease of load too rapidly where possible. Strong communication, major pitfall for throwers. Overtraining during school holidays, they can go a bit ballistic. Although sometimes it's a good opportunity to top up things, but you've got to be smart with how much you can do. Right? Smart how much you can do. So if the kid's got a bit of resiliency about them, sometimes you might slot in okay, you've got some time on holidays. If you're doing 6 days a week now, maybe we'll do a bit of an extra morning session on the Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, and Wednesday off. So you can just tweak it a bit, do something different. It doesn't hurt. Sometimes tweaking things, changing things can be a real stimulus. End of exam period, lifting too heavy. Obviously the people that love chewing weights in the weight room. But also, Scotty said, kids can be pretty durable. They can be pretty durable. Then again, you see some throws, they usually got a bit of lead on them, they're quite protected, a lot of it. But if they can't move well, that's when they get issues. They have issues with injury and positions. Just a load fluctuation. If you just keep plugging away at things, and just keep doing a bit of work, results will come. Nicole Bogan-Stewart, main thing she's noticed, increased load, not monitored again. What else are they doing in their lives? Some loads good, essential for jumps. For correct technique, progression, acting. School holidays, killer period, communication, same again. Lee Foreman, Lynn raised an interesting point. A lot of her kids will get strength and conditioning experts outside of squat. She doesn't do it, or she hasn't got time to do it. So, you know, it's very difficult. If someone's giving you a crap program, you're in trouble. It's either nodding head. You have to drive it. Talk to the strength with someone, this, and this. And they need a combination. We do a lot of bounty, sort of drilly stuff, coordination stuff before we lift. We'll do some jumping in the gym, even on the spot, just mix it up a bit. Side lateral jumps, ankle work, you can always mix it up, but you have to drive that. So you have to be careful of the so-called experts. Roddy Griffin. Most of the distance coaches know ride. Quite an extensive program that he's got. You can always contact him. It's on an Excel spreadsheet. The distance, in a lot of ways, is much easier to monitor load. Monitor load, volume, intensities, heart rates. You can work through zones. It's much easier. When you've got the other parameters in sprints, hurdles, jumps, you've got different aspects, you're in trouble. And Paul Pierce, again, communication, multiple disciplines. Athletes playing footy and cricket, netball, you've got to be careful, you've got to know what to do. And just, I won't go through that, you can read up on that, we'll get the wind up here. But basically, Celeste, she did a fantastic job. In the VCE year, she just maintained the same contact training. It was easy for her, she was at sports school. However, she just maintained the same level, but was flexible around the G12. She had the weight room there, the physio there, she had a track there, so travel time 0, huge advantage. And then they'd redo it every week. They just replan depending on what she had up. Okay, you can't have a busy weekend, so we'll train Monday to Friday, we'll have a weekend off, you've got to study, or whatever they used to do. Post VCE, she thought, oh, Commons Games is a realistic one, which it was, and no Commons Games. She did well. Took on part-time coaching, decided to take the year off. That's a conversation that some of the coaches nowadays have to think about, some of these kids in the 12. Do they, if they've got something really important come up, and they can afford to, they want to, they might have a year off. Have a gap, so-called gap year for training, not for boozing and travelling in Europe. If they do that, that's fine, but don't expect to come back 12 months' time and be where you were 12 months previous. Right? But there's a lot of conversations you have to have. But anyway, but basically they did very, very similar things. And they just sort of kept plugging away. They'd done the work. They basically done the work and just maintained it for 12 months. Didn't do anything fancy. Just try to do some extra technical things. And for her it worked pretty well. Top 5 in the world, top 4 comments. And she was a good example, but pretty driven young lady. You said, like, she's pretty smart and she really wanted to do it. But she made a lot of those choices. Very supportive family, really good coaching structure, facility, had everything she needed, so that was quite good.